Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Stellmacher with Eller Tech Core, and this is our Level Up with Canva. Today I will be teaching you an A4 design, and A4 just means the 8x11, 8.5 by 11 regular size paper. The goal for this is to create something like this image in front of you. It is our landing page for the PDF that we will introduce to the students. So from here, you'll be able to click any of these boxes and go to another hyperlinked pamphlet. And so I'll just be teaching you guys how to create a rudimentary version of this. So to begin, we will open our first page of our Canva, our home page. And so your designs will be here if you've done previous designs. If you have not, then nothing will be here, and you will still have this banner up here. In the top right, we have a create design, and we will be using this today. There are multiple different templates you can choose out of, but for this presentation, this PDF, we will use our own design. So to begin, click this button at the top right, and down low on the menu, drop-down menu, there's the A4 document. So go ahead and click that, please. And so your new untitled design pops up. It's just a blank white canvas the size of a printed piece of paper. So up in the central portion, you can name your piece. I'm going to name mine PDF. My first step would be to come up with a title or a header. There are a few ways to do this. We can go into our uploads and upload a title. If you guys have any PNGs that you've created in Illustrator or even Canva or other font makers or title or header makers, you can use that. I've uploaded this, and so we used the level in the up part of Level Up for our other previous project. So to begin, if you don't have a photo like this, what we would do is go into text, go to your heading, and just drag it onto the paper. If you don't like that heading, you can scroll through the font combinations. Perhaps you like the look of free delivery. You can drag that onto here and it should show up. To get rid of this, you just highlight each box and click delete. So to center this, you click into your box and then you go to position and you click center. You can center it to the top, but having it flush at the top isn't always as aesthetic as we wish it were. So perhaps I will shrink this a little bit and then position it center and maybe drag it off the top just a tiny bit. Awesome. So now we have our title. Perhaps we don't want to say free delivery, so double click into it and then you can click delete and perhaps type in Level Up with Canva. So this is kind of starting to trail into the lower portion of our page, and we don't want that. So to make it more aesthetic, we can use these little horizontal, vertical tabs and pull out. So you can make that whatever size you want, and then you click your left mouse button and drag it to where you would like. So right now you could click position and click center to center it, but I centered it by dragging it. So if I were to put it there, I would position it, click center. So the next step is to figure out your colors. So you click into your words, you click the text color, and then you can go into this left tab. And I would click into add new color, and you can use hex numbers to choose specific colors if you've matched them to a logo or something else. already. So I'm going to kind of guesstimate right now and pick some, dark navy blues and some reds to match TechCore's colors. So notice how there's a slight shadow. To change that or alter that, there's you go into effects, and I'll show you that in a second. The way I zoomed in was just this down bar here to make sure that I could see that. So I'd go into effects. That red hue is just a shadow, so you can change the color of that if you want. Go into there again, and I almost want to darken it a little bit, make it less orange. So pull that all the way to the left, darken, and then notice how this transparency bar is higher. If we want to make it more red, we can make it less transparent. I think that looks pretty cool. You can even change the area of where it's being shadowed and then how far it's being offset. So I'm gonna, instead of having it that far off, I'll tighten it up a little bit, and so it's a little bit more crisp. And you can even round it out if you want to, but for this purpose I don't think a round title would look nice. I like to section up my papers, and by doing that I would add an element and throw in perhaps a line. Here you can search any lines, charts, graphs, 3D boxes, and I would click a line because I want a line, and this one looks kind of cool, kind of dandy. So there's our line. If you click onto it, you can click position and center it. For the line, I would change it to match the colors of everything. So I just clicked navy blue, so I clicked into it, went to the top left box, and then I clicked the one that we've used before. Alrighty, the next step I would do would be to find a place to write your information. I will add a kind of a hollow box so that I can write within the hollow box. So what I did here was I went into the elements and I clicked all. So I noticed this looks pretty nice. I have a few rounded edges, and the font is kind of rounded, so I would use this instead of the left one. And I'd place it, and for this you can just drag and pull until it matches the pink outline. I apologize, the guide, the pink guide. And then I would bring it up. And now this line separator looks a bit odd, so I might delete it and just have this instead. Awesome. I would also perhaps bring this up a little bit higher. And make sure it's still centered. Level up with Canva. Perhaps even make it flush. I guess that looks fine. Level up with Canva. Awesome. For certain purposes, legality and representation, I will be adding the TechCore logo and the Eller logo, as well as some of the cool designs. So the next thing you could do is you have the look of the background. I have already uploaded some media from my device. That is part of our TechCore program. It's just these interesting lines in the background, and you can just lie them anywhere on top of your project. So you can select it by just clicking onto it, and then I want to position that towards the back so that it doesn't overlap any of my cool portions, like what I'm working on here. So I can even make it even more transparent if I don't like seeing it too much, and it's just accenting, not taking over the photo or the project. So now it's very barely visible, but it's still aesthetic. So I want to create a second one, and in the top right there's this duplicate button, and I've created the second one, and I'll put that in the top right corner. but I will rotate it because I want it to frame the corner and match. Alrighty, so I will also have to put this in the background. So I right click and you can click send to the back. Alrighty. My next step would be to add the Eller representation. So here in my uploaded media, I would go to upload the purple button, click upload, and find my media that I wanted to insert. I already uploaded it, so it's in this cache here. I would just either click it or I drag it. So I clicked it here, and then I'm going to shrink it so it matches the corner, and then I'll lock it in. So there's the representation for TechCore. As for the Eller College of Management, I can drag it or you can click it. So I'll click it, and notice how it's white. Since it's a PNG and it's see-through, it's going to be a little bit difficult to manage that. So what I can do is I shrink it, and then I'm going to add a colored box behind it, perhaps. So let's just use your regular good old box. Shrink this down, elongate it, shrink it, and then drag it in front of the A. Our next step is to then send it backwards. So then it appears. Wow, look at that. Pretty dandy. I would zoom in just to double check and make sure that it's not, obnoxious. Notice how this box is not flush with the edge. Now it is. And now it looks pretty cool and it looks right. And representation is there. Alright. Sometimes selecting these things is a little difficult. Oops. Looks like I added a page, so on the bottom right you can zoom out. So I just deleted that page. Alright, one cool thing about Canva is it automatically saves, so you don't have to save anything. But you can undo if you do mess up. So, my next thing would be to select both the background blue as well as the top PNG picture and zoom back up into them. And then maybe even pair them. So I'm going to bring that up, and then I'm going to bring this up. And notice how there was the dotted purple. Oh darn. I'm going to just keep an eye on that. What you want to do now is go on the gray and hold your left mouse button and pull towards the front. What we're trying to do is select both portions of this here. So what I keep selecting accidentally is this background. So what I would do is zoom out, click the full page, and then lock it in the top right. So now I can't access it. So when I would also do that to the accented lines. So now when I go into the gray and I highlight, I just collect both of the images here. Next I would go to the top right while they're both selected and group. So now I can drag this around without them being separate entities, and I can post the representation of Eller anywhere I want. So I made it flush with each corner because I think it looks good, and when you print it out, it's like a footer for your regular PDFs. The next step for us would be to add the central image or text that you'd like. If it was text, you just click into text, you add a little bit of body text, and then from here you can position it into the center and then put it wherever you'd like. If you extend the edges to the outside, it will lock into that place, and as you type, it won't overflow out of that box. For our purpose here, though, we are going to be creating a navigation image. So the best way to do that is to click into Elements and make your own. At some other parts of Canva, you can use templates, so they match the type of project you clicked at the beginning. Since we made a custom A4, there will not be any graph, like true graph images here. So what we could do is we type in graph and template and just use one of theirs, like this. But what I have found was thorough is just making my own. But there's another way you can solve this issue by going into your Canva home, and here in your what will you design, you click more, and then there's graph and mind map. I would click one or the other. I think the graphs look really nice. Then on the left side you can see recently used, for used, mind maps, bar graphs, line graphs, pie charts, Venn diagrams, all different types of charts. Since I think this is like a navigation page, I would have a centered circle that sticks out and kind of like this, perhaps. Central starting point, and then it branches out into different areas. I think this is very aesthetic. So what I would do is I just click it and it loads into the right. I will delete all of the things that are unnecessary. Out the green color. And then next I would hold down my left and then highlight everything, group it, position it, center, and middle. And now I have a graphic that I can use. After this, I would Command or Control copy. So Command C, Control C, and then you hop back to your project. Here you would paste it, and now you have a very nice pre-made template. So it's still grouped, which is nice, and you can have it centered and middled. And so I'll just drag it to the center of our little box that we created, because I think that looks nice, and then perhaps shrink it down a little bit and then reposition it to center. Alrighty, so our colors don't match, and there's a few ways to deal with that. So since we are matching colors, we want to use perhaps this very navy blue. To do that, you click into each square, go into the top left, and just click the color that matches. So what you could do is also select all the blue circles, or the purple circles, and do that. So next we got to change the font color to match our red, perhaps. Or we could use white, because white looks great too. It's easy to match white. So now we have this nice landing page. What you can do is you can shrink this navigation and then put some text up here explaining what this is. So perhaps what I could do is shift and select everything here. And you just hold shift and you go around clicking each box. And then you click group, and then you shrink it all, and then you center it. And voila. Now, right here you have space to write in anything you like. Perhaps you wanted to write in some information about what you're doing. What I would say would be, I'd add in a little bit of body text and say, welcome to learning with Level Up. Learning with Level Up, perhaps welcome to leveling up with Canva. This is a navigation page, period. The bubbles below are links to other Canva tutorials. And so this would be just an intro, you can center it where you want. You can even add some background block behind it to give it its own look Or you can even add like this little thing that makes it look like it's on a sticky note, and that's kind of cool. Since it is an introduction, I would probably lock it to where those other lines are locked, and then I'd also lock the text to that as well, or form the text to it, not lock it. And notice I was a little bit too high. I got it down and it fit it all. I don't really love the gray, so perhaps I will shrink the lettering, click the gray in the background, and maybe make it even the yellow colors, because that would be cool. Oof, perhaps not. Or actually, maybe leave that gray and just mute it in a second. Alrighty. So next, we pull that back out in just a second. We'll position this, we'll make it less transparent, so that it highlights it but doesn't take away from it. So next we click the lettering and we just pull it out to the box, and perhaps just make it look nice. Very good. We position it, center it, and then make sure the thing behind it is centered. Wonderful. Our next step is to add hyperlinks. So perhaps you click into this box, and you can either hyperlink the text or you can hyperlink the circle. So I would hyperlink the circle because it makes it easier to click. So I would click the circle and see this little link. Click that, and here you can add in whatever link you'd like. The best way to get to the links is to go to Share, copy link, and then you can use, perhaps I wanted to link this project. I'd go into Share, copy link, go back to my presentation, and here I would have that link, and I would just Command V or Control V, paste it. So now it's clickable. It's a clickable link that doesn't have the wording underlined showing it's a clickable link. On the Canva tutorial, I labeled our box Introduction to Canva, as well as I had the different titles, such as branding, marketing tools, flyers, pamphlets, creative resumes, presentations. So for this purpose, though, it's just to learn that you can link these. So for here, I could link it to the homepage of Canva. So I just type in canva.com or so, or you can go into Google, canva.com, and just copy the hyperlink there. So I have it copied, and I'll just paste it into here so people can get to the homepage of Canva. Or I could specify it to a page that is related to this, so people can hop around. The last step is to export this into a PDF. Sorry, this white is bothersome. Perfect. Alrighty, the next step is to export it. So once you make your minor details and changes, what you can do is you go into this top right arrow down, that means download, and it'll give you different suggestions to download in. You can make it an MP4 video if you add in different photos or videos. You can make it a GIF, but the best way to have people interact with it and have keep those hyperlinks is to PDF print it. So go ahead and click that, and you don't need to touch these, they're not that necessary, and then you click download and it will start downloading. If you don't have the full version, then it'll come up with these. Alrighty, so now I have it downloaded, and in the bottom left, I'll display it. Look at that, there's our introduction to Canva, and if I click this, notice how there's a finger rather than just an arrow key. That means there's a hyperlink behind it. I click into it, and it brings us to our hyperlinked link. Alrighty, if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact the Level Up department, and I am happy to help out further. My name is Stellmacher. Thank you very much for leveling up with Canva and creating some pamphlets and PDF introductions. Have a good one.